Between the planets Mars and Jupiter lies the asteroid belt. It is home to tens of thousands of asteroids. These rocky objects are leftovers from the early solar system and are too small to be considered planets. They come in different shapes and sizes, with the smallest being less than 1 kilometer wide. Some asteroids have moons and one even has rings, craters. These craters are nicknamed snowmen because they look just like a snowman. They are on Vesta, one of the largest asteroids in the asteroid belt. One day, asteroids could be mined for precious metals and water to be turned into rocket fuel. Asteroid orbits. Not all of the asteroids in our solar system are found in the asteroid belt. Some asteroids pass near other planets, including Earth. Asteroids that come close to Earth are called near Earth objects. The planet Jupiter even shares its orbit around the Sun with two groups of asteroids, which are called Trojans. Ceres, by far the largest object in the asteroid belt, is Ceres, made mostly of rock and ice. It was the first asteroid ever discovered. It has since been classed as a dwarf planet because it is more like a planet than its neighbors in the main asteroid belt. Jupiter. Jupiter is the fifth planet from the Sun and the largest planet in the solar system. It is gas giant with thick bands of brown, yellow and white clouds. Its atmosphere is made up of hydrogen and helium gas, just like our Sun, and if it was much more massive, it could become a star. Jupiter acts like a cosmic vacuum cleaner by sucking up dangerous asteroids. Giant planet. Jupiter is the king of the solar system. It is an amazing 1,43,000 km wide. Jupiter is so large that all of the other planets could fit inside it. Juno mission. NASA Juno spacecraft is helping scientists to understand how Jupiter formed. It is orbiting closer to the gas giant than any spacecraft has before. Jupiter's rings. Jupiter has three thin rings called the Jovian rings. They are mostly made of dust and can only be seen when viewed from behind Jupiter when they are lit up by the sun. Beneath the clouds, any spacecraft that passed through Jupiter's clouds would be crushed and melted by the huge pressure. Scientists believe that beneath the clouds there is a giant ocean made of liquid metal. Great Red Spot. One of Jupiter's most famous features is the Great Red Spot. It is a huge storm, more than 3 times the size of Earth, that has been raging for hundreds of years. Jupiter's moons. Jupiter's four largest moons were the first moons to be discovered orbiting another planet. They are incredible worlds of volcanoes, craters, and hidden oceans that have barely been explored. Some could even be home to alien life. Europa may have twice as much water as Earth. Io. Io is similar in size to the Earth's moon. Chemicals from volcanic eruption have turned its surface yellow-orange. Europa. Europa is the smallest of Jupiter's four largest moons. On the surface, there is water, ice, and underneath, scientists believe there is an ocean. Volcanic moon. Io is the most volcanically active world in our solar system. Hundreds of volcanoes spew lava thousands of meters into the air. Ice geysers. Gigantic jets of water are thought to spout from geysers on Europa's icy surface. These fountains may be up to 20 times higher than Mount Everest. In the night sky, if you look at Jupiter through a telescope, you might see bright lights hovering next to the planet. These are actually its four largest moons. Galileo. Jupiter's four largest moons are known as the Galilean moons, after the Italian scientist Galileo Galilei, who discovered them in 1610. Ganymede, the largest moon in our solar system. Ganymede is even bigger than the planet Mercury. It is made of rock and ice. Callisto, this battered moon has more craters than any other object in the whole solar system. In orbit, with at least 67 moons, Jupiter is almost like its own mini solar system. Io is the closest of the four largest moons and takes 42 hours to orbit around the planet. Callisto, the furthest away, takes around 17 days to complete its orbits. Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet after Jupiter and is known as the jewel of the solar system because of its spectacular rings. It is a gas giant that spins so fast it bulges out in the middle. Saturn's moon Titan is the only moon in the solar system that has an atmosphere. This part of Saturn is dark because it is night time. The gas giant is casting a shadow over its rings. Bath time. Despite its mammoth size, Saturn isn't very dense. This means that if you could build a gigantic bath, Saturn would float in it. A view of home. The tiny blue dot in the bottom right of this picture is where you live. This picture of our home planet was taken by NASA's Cassini Huygens spacecraft when it visited Saturn in 2004. Lord of the Rings. Saturn is surrounded by rings that are made up of billions of chunks of rock and ice. The rings can be seen from Earth through a telescope. Ice giants, cold and dark. Uranus and Neptune are known as ice giants because they are made of mix of gas and icy materials. Both worlds have small rings and many moons. They have only been visited by one spacecraft, Voyager 2, and are still waiting to be explored. Most of Uranus moons are named after characters in Shakespeare's plays, for example, Puck and Miranda. Spinning on its side, Uranus is the oddball of the solar system as it orbits the Sun tilted on its side. Scientists think this is because Uranus was struck by an Earth sized object early in its life, knocking it over. Great Dark Spot. The storm was spotted by Voyager 2 when it visited Neptune in 1989. It had disappeared by the next time Neptune was viewed. Stormy planet. Neptune is the windiest planet in the solar system. Winds tear through Neptune's clouds at speeds of up to 2000 km per hour. These ferocious winds once blew a huge storm across the planet. It was called the Great Dark Spot and it was the size of the Earth. Pluto. Pluto was once thought to be a barren, boring lump of rock at the edge of the solar system. However, a recent mission has shed new light on this mysterious world. It is filled with ice, mountains, and volcanoes, and it has particles in its atmosphere that scatter sunlight, giving it a blue sky just like on Earth. Strange surface. In 2015, photos revealed Pluto's surface for the first time. NASA scientists spotted smooth plains riddled with craters and mountains of ice. Dwarf planets. In 2006, it was decided Pluto wasn't a planet but a dwarf planet. Dwarf planets are similar to planets in many ways but share their orbits around the Sun with other objects such as asteroids and comets. There are currently five recognized dwarf planets in the solar system, but it is thought there are many more. New Horizons. In 2015, the New Horizons probe made a close flyby of Pluto. It was the first time the dwarf planet had been seen in such clear detail, revealing a world far more active than was previously thought. Charon. When it wasn't busy snapping shots of Pluto, New Horizons had the chance to photograph Pluto's biggest moon, Charon, the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is made up of millions of icy and rocky objects that orbit the Sun at the edge of the solar system. It is also home to dwarf planets. New Horizons will do its first flyby of Kuiper Belt object in 2019. Pluto was named by 11-year-old Venetia Burney in 1930. Meet the expert. Dr. Alan Stern is an engineer, planetary scientist, and space explorer. He led the first ever mission to visit Pluto, a probe called New Horizons. His team are now using the spacecraft to study other worlds in the Kuiper Belt. What inspired you as a child? I was a little boy at the start of the space program in the 1960s, and then as a teenager I saw people regularly walk on the moon. I wanted to be a part of the future of space exploration. How does it feel to lead the first mission to Pluto? Pluto was the only one of the classical planets not explored. Pluto was still classified as a planet when New Horizons launched in 2006. To be able to lead the exploration of the further planet that was known is a privilege. Feels like a dream. This was a big team effort by people who worked for 15 years to see Pluto explored. Humans have finally completed the first exploration of our solar system. It is inspirational and shows people we can do great things in our time. Why did people want to go to Pluto? In the 1990s, we discovered the Kuiper Belt, and this gave us a context for Pluto. Before that, we just had four rocky planets, four gas planets, and then Pluto out on the edge. It was a bit of a misfit. We discovered many other small planets and realized Pluto was the first of the whole new class of small planets. How hard was it to send a spacecraft to Pluto? Very hard. It was a decade-long flight to go to Pluto, and we had no second chance if we missed the flyby. We had to go it right on the first try and be prepared to get it right. The pioneers of space exploration had developed the technology to do this. The only exception was new technology to miniaturize the science experiments to make sure New Horizons wasn't too heavy. How do you feel about Pluto being classified as a dwarf planet? I think it was a huge mistake. At the time of the flyby, it became obvious that it is clearly a planet and not something else. It has the properties of a planet, and the images we have got back from New Horizons demonstrate this. Pluto has properties similar to the terrestrial planets, and in my view, it is more of a planet than the gas giants. How did it feel seeing the first image of Pluto? We had a pretty good idea that Pluto would be complicated, but actually seeing the images mind blowing. We could see the surface and it was very interesting for scientists. We are learning lots about Pluto. It is geologically active and we don't understand the mechanisms. I felt very happy that the team had succeeded. Any surprises about Pluto? We discovered that Pluto has parts of its surface that are 4.5 billion years old, other parts that are will be 1 billion years old, and some parts were only born yesterday. It's a puzzle to us. Pluto has also volcanoes, which rival the big ones on Mars. What are your favorite planets? Pluto and Earth. Earth is joint favorite because we live here. It gave birth to our species, and it is the only planet where you can take your dog for a walk. What are your hopes for the future? I hope we continue to accelerate the field of science and commercial space flight. The exploration of space is the most important achievement in the history of humanity. I hope that one day space probes will land on Pluto and humans will explore it, it in person. Do you have any advice for future space explorers? Study hard, work hard, and find your passion. Name the rock. Space rocks are known as different names depending on their size, making a meteoroid. Parts of the asteroid break off to form a meteoroid. Asteroid. An asteroid is a rocky object that orbits the Sun. They are much smaller than planets. Some are less than 1 kilometer wide. Meteoroid. A small piece of rock or or space dust that has broken off an asteroid or comet is called a meteoroid. Meteor. Meteoroid that burns up as it passes through the Earth's atmosphere is called a meteor. They are also known as stars. Some asteroids even have moons. The asteroid Ida has a moon called Dactyl. Space rocks. Our solar system isn't just made up of planets, dwarf planets, and moons. There are lots of other objects that make up the solar system family. Comets and asteroids have existed since the solar system formed, and both have hit Earth in the past. There are also smaller bits of rock and dust called meteoroids, meteors, and meteorites. Death of the dinosaurs. Every day, around 90 tons rock and dust from space smashes into the earth. Most of it burns up in the atmosphere, but larger objects can reach the ground. Scientists think a meteorite about 10 kilometers wide hit into the earth about 65 million years ago, wiping out the dinosaurs. Comets. Made from rock, ice, and dust, comets are the size of mountains. There are thousands of billions of comets in our solar system orbiting the Sun. Comets travel around the Sun in an oval shaped orbit. Some comets are so far away they take tens of millions of years to to orbit the Sun. How the tail forms. Comets get tails when they pass near the Sun and are heated up. The tails always point away from the Sun. Meteorite. If the meteor makes it to the ground, it is called a meteorite. Parts of this comet may be older than our solar system. Landing on a comet. The spacecraft Rosetta and its lander Philae traveled for 10 years across the solar system to reach the comet 67P Churyumov Gerasimenko. To get enough speed, the spacecraft had to loop around the Earth 3 times and Mars once, using the gravity of the planets to slingshot through space. On the way, they passed lots of other fascinating objects. Finally, in 2014, Philae made the first ever successful touchdown on a comet. Giant comet. The comet that Rosetta and Philae visited is 4 kilometers long. That's roughly the same height as 10 Empire State Buildings stacked up. Space ages. Did you know that you are a different age on each planet? This is because a year is the time it takes an object in the solar system to orbit the sun. Every planet or dwarf planet takes a different length of time to do this. So their years can be long or short. A year on Earth is the same as about 4 years on Mercury, while a year on Pluto takes 248 Earth years. Mercury. Mercury flies round the sun more quickly than the other planets. Its year is only 88 Earth days long. That means that if you are 10 on Earth, you are 41 on Mercury. Venus. A day is the amount of time it takes a planet to spin once. Venus takes 225 Earth days to orbit the Sun, but it spins very slowly. This means the days on Venus are very long. In fact, a day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. Pluto. Pluto is so far from the Sun that you would wait a long time for your first birthday. It would take 2480 Earth years to turn 10. Neptune. A year on Neptune takes 165 Earth years. This means that it is impossible to turn one on Neptune in a human lifetime. A 90-year-old on Earth is 370 years old on Mercury. Alien hunters. Are we alone in the universe? It is one of the great unanswered questions. Some scientists think it is very likely that the universe is full of life. Their motto is follow the water, as they believe the best place to find life will be where there is liquid water. Within our own solar system, there are several places to interest to these scientists. Candidates for life. Although finding intelligent life like us in our own solar system is unlikely, there are worlds that may be home to simple forms of life. Scientists are interested in these places because they have conditions that might be suitable for life to exist. Europa. Scientists believe that there is a liquid water ocean under the thick frozen surface of Jupiter's moon, Europa. Life has been found at the deepest, darkest parts of Earth's oceans. and scientists think the same thing might be possible on Europa. Mars. Mars is of interest to scientists because of the recent discovery of flowing water on its surface. It is possible that life may have existed on the planet in the past, or that some form of life may still exist today. Enceladus. Enceladus is a moon that orbits around Saturn. It has a frozen surface, and scientists think there is liquid water underneath. The Cassini spacecraft has been flying through geysers of frozen water that erupt from the surface and analyzing it to see if it could harbor life. Titan. Titan is Saturn's largest moon. It has a thick atmosphere and is made of liquid gas. Titan is very interesting to scientists because its atmosphere may be similar to that of early Earth before life emerged on our planet. SETI Institute. SETI stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. The SETI Institute, based in California, USA, is looking for evidence of life in the solar system and the wider universe. SETI scientists try to find places that may have the ingredients needed for life and also listen out for possible signals that may have come from aliens. SETI believe our first contact with intelligent life in the universe may even be with robots built by alien civilization. Postcards from probes. Voyager 1 and 2 are twin spacecrafts that were launched in the 1970s. Since then, they have been on an incredible journey across our solar system, visiting the planets Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The mission was far more successful than scientists had imagined it would be, and the spacecrafts are still sending back information to Earth. Jupiter. Voyager 1 and 2 took pictures on Jupiter's Great Red Spot and saw that one of its moons, called Io, has active volcanoes. Saturn. Both spacecrafts photographed Saturn's rings and moons. Scientists learned about what Saturn was made of and what its weather was like. Uranus. Voyager 2 was the first spacecraft to visit Uranus. It discovered 10 new moons around the planet, leaving the solar system. On 25th August 2012, Voyager 1 became the first human-made object to leave the solar system. Pioneer missions launched just before the Voyager missions. Pioneer 10 and 11 were the first spacecrafts to cross the asteroid belt and visit Jupiter and Saturn. Family Portrait. The Pioneer project also sent probes to visit the inner planets and to orbit the Earth, some of which launched in the 1950s. Anyone out there? In case they are found by aliens, the Pioneer probes carry plaques showing the position of Earth in the solar system and what humans look like. Neptune. In the late 1980s, Voyager 2 reached Neptune, the final planet on its tour. It passed close to Neptune's largest moon, called Triton. The future. The Sun won't last forever. Just like other stars in the universe, the Sun was born and it will die. At 4.6 billion years old, the Sun is almost halfway through its life. In about 5 billion years' time, it will start to change, As it burns up the fuel that kept it shining bright for so long, it will expand to become a type of star called a red giant before shrinking to become a white dwarf. Life of the Sun. The Sun is a medium-sized star. This diagram shows the life cycle of the Sun from its birth to when it starts to run out of fuel. Expanding Sun. The Sun will slowly expand over billions of years to become a red giant star. The view from the Earth. This is how the Sun might look from the Earth as it starts to expand. The Earth may even get engulfed by the Sun towards the end of its life. But don't worry, this won't happen for billions of years. Eating Mercury. The red giant Sun will become so enormous that it will gobble up the planet Mercury. Beyond the solar system, our Sun is one of many stars in our galaxy, and our galaxy, the Milky Way, is one of many galaxies in the universe. It is not yet possible for humans to travel beyond our solar system, but by using telescopes, scientists are able to take pictures of galaxies trillions and trillions of kilometers away. Looking into deep space. Using space telescopes, scientists have seen stars being born and dying, and observed very distant galaxies. They have been able to work out that the universe is nearly 14 billion years old. Hubble telescope orbiting above the Earth is the Hubble Space Telescope, the size of a large school bus. It faces out towards space and takes pictures of distant stars and galaxies. Hubble Ultra Deep Field Image. This picture taken by the Hubble Space Telescope shows some of the farthest galaxies even seen. It is just a small section of the night sky, and the galaxies you are looking are the nearly as old as the universe itself. Amazing facts. Deep space. Scientists estimate that there are at least 100 billion galaxies in the universe. A typical galaxy like our home galaxy, the Milky Way, contains hundreds of billions of stars. It would take light 13 billion years to reach the furthest galaxy we have detected from Earth. Expla- Exoplanets. Our Sun is not the only star that has planets orbiting around it. Lots of other stars have planets too, and scientists call their exoplanets.